It'll only come up as one because it only comes up with the one that's. It won't come up with the picture.
Oh, okay.
It'll only come up with me that's moving. All right, we're live.
Brilliant. Right, I'm going to share in some groups.
I shall do that too.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Sorry about the delay. We have had a few challenges, technical challenges, but Denise has been such a wizard. She sorted it.
So you're going to do to the Freedom, you're going to share it to the...
I've shared to Solargy Freedom Network.
All right.
And my own group.
I'll just share it, and I will share it in Messenger.
But
well,
your picture comes up on my Zoom recording, though.
Oh, does it? Oh, well.
Never mind. Well, hi, everybody. It's Beverley here from Love Unity. And as I said, sorry about the delay. And we have the beautiful Denise Chadwick with us today. And today we're going to be talking about crystalline energy and grid work around land and buildings. And maybe something else that Denise has got up her sleeve that I won't disclose yet. And we're going to be talking about crystal light activations, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So welcome.
I can't remember if we talked about those last time, actually.
I can't either. But it won't hurt to talk about them again.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So welcome, love. Glad you could come on.
Yeah, I'm glad we managed to sort that out.
Yeah.
Funny, I've turned my iPad the other way around, and normally the camera's on that side, and I keep forgetting that it's over there. So there's the camera. I shall try and remind myself.
Yeah. So Denise, do you want to start telling us about this crystalline energy that you work with and the grid work that you work with?
Yeah. So. I've been working with crystalline energies and crystalline light for longer than I realised. Yeah. And the crystal light activations that I'll talk about afterwards came as part of that. And they are linked to the crystalline grid of energy, which to me emanates out from the heart of Gaia. And to me, the heart of Gaia is crystalline as well. I feel that that's crystalline diamond. I'm not sure if that's diamond as in octahedron, or if that's diamond as in, you know, the carbon actual diamond. But the crystal grid of energy contains the energy of all of the crystals on the planet. It contains, and I would guess all the rocks, the river stones, like all that energy. Yeah. So we can connect to the crystalline grid. In fact, why don't we do this now? Yeah. Let's just close our eyes if you're in a suitable place to do that. And just visualize that growing down from your coccyx, from the base of your spine and the soles of your feet are roots of energy. And actually, let's visualize a golden cylinder coming down from source as well. And that golden cylinder is large enough to surround your whole body. And the cylinder is going all the way to the heart, the crystal heart of Gaia. And our roots from our coccyx and our feet are going down within that golden cylinder of light, through all the layers of the earth, deeper and deeper down, connecting with the crystal heart of Gaia, connecting with the New Earth templates, and connecting with the crystalline grid. So now as we breathe in, we can breathe up through our feet and through our coccyx, that crystalline energy. and Gaia's energy, Gaia's supportive, loving energy. And let's just ask for the energy of any crystals that would be useful for us right now to come up those roots into our bodies. You might have some in mind that you feel your body would benefit from. And so the energies of those stones might come up. But it feels to me like there's almost like an amalgam of energies that will come up through our feet into our bodies, going all the way to the top of our head. And taking a few long and slow deep breaths. And just helping to move around those crystalline frequencies to activate the DNA and to disperse any energies that our body will benefit from just now. And let's also ask Mother Earth, Gaia, for any nutrients, any elements, any electrolytes, because she holds the energy of everything. So anything that would be of benefit to us. So things like iron, sodium, potassium, anything at all that our bodies would benefit from. And again, taking a few deep breaths as those energies come up our feet and up our coccyx into our bodies. So opening our eyes when we're ready. Just moving our bodies a little if that feels comfortable. It's actually really strong when you do that, especially like both of them, but I felt such a rush of energy.
Yeah.
You know, often our diets are deficient in nutrients and the soil isn't as good as it used to be. We can connect to the sun as well and ask for vitamin D through the sun.
Yeah.
But she does hold the energy of everything. So we can ask for anything that we're deficient in, or even not even deficient, but we could just do with a boost in to come up.
Yeah.
And the times that I've done that, it's been really, really strong.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Mm.
And I've felt also that I've needed something. And I got, as soon as you said iron, my body went, yay!
And that's not come to mind before either, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so that was good. When I do activations myself, I also take the golden soil of light down, and I love being in that energy.
Yeah,
it just feels so nurturing.
And I didn't mention it in that one, but to me, when the golden cylinder comes down, it goes into our crown, and because it's surrounding us, we're breathing it in as well. And I've worked with golden light rather than white light for quite a long time now, for quite a few years. It suddenly switched, and then it was just always golden after that.
Do you know, I've worked a lot with I used to work a lot with white light. That was actually the only energy that I could see for quite some time. And then it changed to, like you said, the golden light. But what I'm getting through as well lately is pink, but a really soft baby pink that keeps coming through. And I'm not sure what it is yet. Do you know what that energy is?
No, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of kind of rose gold. But pink is love energy. Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. But it's a really soft, like a baby pink, what I call a baby pink. You know, that really light, delicate pink.
I wonder if that's because of your new starts that you're preparing for.
Yeah.
Almost like that baby energy, that kind of new start energy.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, and it's coming through a lot since I made the decision to move. Yeah. So that fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And interesting that it's the pink and not the blue. So like the softer kind of pink.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's beautiful. It's a nice energy. It's a nurturing energy. It's soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so much action. It's like it's supporting me in all the action that I need to take.
Yeah.
It's, you know, holding that space for me. That's what I feel anyway. Yeah.
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 Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so where was I going? Before I started the activation, I was talking about something about the crystalline, about the crystalline energies. So when I do work on the land, and I haven't really done many space clearings in the UK since I've been back, but I would do quite a lot of that in Australia.
Yeah.
And people's houses where the energy, you know, was a bit weird, or buildings. And I had quite a lot of experience of that. And also I used to do a lot of work on the land. Now I do grid work on the land, but a lot of this was actually, the distortion of massacre energy mainly.
Wow. Okay.
So, and of course in Aboriginal, you know, that's recent as well.
Yeah.
So I was often called to places and you could just feel the distortion there, because a lot of the land is so very pure, because the Aboriginal people have kept it very pure as guardians of the land. They kept the energy very pure in Australia. Yeah. So the distortions have really come in since the English people took over. Yeah. And some of the places I didn't necessarily realise were massacre sites. It wasn't until I shared it with an Aboriginal friend of mine, and everywhere that I said that I'd done work, he's like, yeah, that's a massacre site. Yeah, that's a massacre site. Wow. And people, they tended to be massacred when they were all together, and they would get together on the sacred sites. Okay. So it was usually when they were in ceremony and when they were gathered together on the sacred sites. So the massacres tended to happen on very strong energy spots. Yeah. So once that distortion's in there, it just gets really amplified, would be the word, because the energy is so strong. Yeah. So a lot of the work that I was doing on buildings, and even in the buildings, it was actually land work that I was doing. Okay. And that's what I always find, that whenever you got distortions in a house, you've actually got distortions in the land. Yeah. So often where one or more ley lines meet, and they create like a portal, they create like a vortex. Okay. It creates an energy hotspot. And if the energy is distorted there, then it, as I said before, it magnifies that, it amplifies it. Yeah. But if the energy is very pure, then it amplifies that pure energy as well. Yeah, okay. So what I start off by doing is connecting to the crystalline grid, first of all, bringing the crystal energies into a place. Yeah. And I would also run gold energy all the way through. So if it was on a property that had a lot of land, I'd start at one point in my vision. This is all etherically, and in deep meditation space as well. Yeah. And I'd rush gold energy from one side to the other, And I would always visualize it kind of going like this, like sine waves. And I do it from one side to the other and back again. And I do it from side to side and back again. And then if you want to do it diagonally as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're really pouring that gold energy in.
Yeah.
And this was interesting. One time I did this at a house that I was living in, because the energy of the house was feeling a bit funky. And I'd gone outside and I just thought, oh, I might just do a clearing. So the first thing I did was rush this gold through. 2 or 3 people left the house straight away. I was like, okay.
Well, that's verification for you.
Yeah, and how interesting, like that frequency, they just couldn't be in that frequency. No. So I'm standing in the garden going, oh, bye.
That's a good way of getting rid of unwanted guests.
Yeah, or bring the violet light in. That's another way as well, because that, you know, transmutes negative energy to positive. So the violet light's another way to do that as well. Yeah. And then I'd bring in crystalline energy. Yeah. So what I tend to do in a living space is bring a huge slab, a huge stone of rose quartz, and place that in the center of the house. So that is just radiating out its beautiful love energy, that gorgeous, and that's actually the color that you were meaning, really, isn't it? It's that rose quartz energy. I wonder if there's rose quartz in there as well, if it's that love energy that you're receiving too.
And I got rose quartz in that activation we were just doing before.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And I mentioned rose quartz as well. I mean, I could have mentioned anything, but it was rose quartz that came out to mention. Yeah, so I stick rose quartz in the center of the room or in the center of the house. And sometimes I might actually stick rose quartz. And you can do this for real as well. You can, I'm just writing a note of something so I don't forget. Yeah, actually I'm going to say that first. So the first thing I would do in the room that's got the most distortion, I would set up a crystal grid. Yeah. And when I do crystal grids, it's sacred geometry that comes through. So it's in particular shapes, but they're never the same. It's never the same any time that I do it. They're always different. So you know that it's been brought in for that particular, the energies of that particular abode.
And do you do that physically with actual crystals, or do you? Okay.
Yeah, that bit is with actual crystals.
Yeah. Okay.
And possibly I might do more than one in more than one room, depending on how many crystals I'm using.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got your crystal grid going, and then I'd go into deep meditation space, and that's when I start to like tune into the building. I might walk round first as well and just feel things with my hands. My hands have always been very, very sensitive and a bit stronger originally than my clairvoyance as well, than what I would see, but that kind of picked up over the years. So I'd be walking through, and just, you know, when you feel the energy, you can feel it's just icky. You know, you walk in and the hairs might stand on end. Yeah. And that can happen anyway, like your hairs can stand on end, but that can be quite pleasant, like a tickle. Or it can be just like, ugh, and you just want to get out of there. Sometimes you might feel sick in a place, you might get a headache.
Headaches,
or just, you can just feel it's off, and really you just want to get the heck out of there as well. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
There was one place in particular that I did it's really one of the most distorted places I've done.
Okay.
And there was one room at the end of a corridor, and as you walk down the corridor, every bone in my body just wanted to leg it out of there and just run. And I was doing this one with a friend, which was good because it was really quite an overpowering energy. I felt sick. I felt, you know, like my solar plexus I was getting pain in there. It was really uncomfortable. I set up my crystal grid and we both got into a meditation space, but I had to force myself to stay there because I was really being pushed out. It was really, really strong. And with that house, the owners were friends of mine, and they'd said that when the decorator came, and this is just an ordinary guy, you know, the decorator, he was like, what is going on down that corridor. Like it was really, really marked.
Oh, it could feel it
really
too.
pronounced.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I'll tune into the energies of the place with my third eye then, and just see what's lurking there. Because sometimes in that astral layer, you know, you get kind of mischief makers that are in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might be galactic visitors that are maybe not, you know, that aren't necessarily harmful, but then their energy might not be in alignment with the rest of the house.
Yeah.
And often you would pick up on things that have happened there, and you might get odd words, you know, to describe what's happened there. Because as we know, the energy, if something really harmful has happened there, then the energy of that, if it's not cleared, will stay. And it goes into the cells of the walls, it goes into the ground.
Yeah.
But most of all, if there's an energy of the earth that's distorted, that's going to come out into there as well. And just to go back to what I was saying about portals and when ley lines cross, that can create like a vortex, like a portal, and that can bring energies to it that are not from there. But if there's like a discarnate spirit, and to me that's where the energy of someone after they've died has got fragmented, and it's stuck in a place. And that aspect of them may not know that they've died. And I don't think necessarily it's the whole energy that doesn't go to the light, but it's like some of it is stuck.
Okay.
And depending on the distortion of the energy there, that can attract similar distorted energies to it as well. So tune into any energies that might be there and see what they need really in that. Yeah, so it really depends on the individual, but you might have to break the news to them that they've died, and then try and encourage them to go to the light. And I always used to work with Archangel Michael when I did this as well. So it's kind of like then Archangel Michael would take them to the light. So back to the crystals. So you've tuned in, and then you've maybe worked out what energies are there and shifted those energies. Oh, that's not a very nice. You've like moved those energies. So then the crystalline energies, and this is where it's fun and where you can use your imagination. Sometimes if a place is really kind of barren, you can imagine that you're planting flowers there. That's a really beautiful thing to do. Roses especially, that's what I would do these days. I'd put roses there. And in fact, if I were to do one now, I would bring in that rose energy as well as the rose quartz, the actual rose energy too. I'm just going to get a drink. Okay, so we've got rose quartz in the center of the house, rose quartz in the center of the rooms. Now I'm trying to think back to my feng shui. I think to bring abundance in, I might have this wrong. I think it's citrine in the left-hand corner opposite to the door, the entry door. And I think rose quartz is in the right-hand corner, but I'm not 100% on that. From memory, I think that's what it is. But what I would do, like from the gate entrance to the house, to the door, is visualize an amethyst-like tunnel almost. So when people come in, they go through that violet energy, they go through that tunnel. I would place energetic slabs of smoky quartz beneath the building to cover the whole, like to cover the area of the whole building.
What does that do?
Any energies coming up from the ground then are going to go through that smoky quartz. And you could also put a layer of amethyst there as well, so that it's coming up through that. I would call upon the guardians of the ruby ray, especially when it was a portal, and station them there too. And I would often create like a dome around the whole house. That would most likely be clear quartz. And I don't know if that's just because I'm thinking crown, you know, crown of the body, crown of the house, clear quartz. But really, you can use your imagination with this, and you can use kind of any crystalline energies that you wish. In the corners of the room, I tend to put amethyst energies. Labradorite, I always seem to call in as well, and there's kind of a protective quality to labradorite, but I really love labradorite. Like, I probably should have put one on tonight, actually. It's one of my favorite stones, labradorite. I really love it. And it's that kind of communication but connection with divine and with the other realms as well. If it's like a shop or something where you want abundance, I mean, you would in a house anyway, but where you want abundance to come in, citrine is what I would mainly use. So the energies of citrine. And if it's something that you feel you may not have fully cleared as well, or that there's a bit of ongoing residual energy there that still is taking its time to leave, you can put, I mean, you can use tourmaline as well. Tourmaline's a really good one to protect you from computers and all that kind of stuff. So you can really use your imagination, and it's like the energies of it, and you can mix them up as well. So you can mix your labradorite across the top with the clear quartz if you want to, and just have it, you know, have it so that it's speckled with labradorite, and really just use your imagination. And then have another tune in to the land and make sure that you've not missed anything. And then I'd walk around again and just feel the energies and make sure they were clear. Now, that house that I mentioned, that took a long time. After about 20 minutes, I started to feel like I could stay in the room. That really pressure energy was kind of gone. But that was really, it was a challenge. It wasn't the biggest challenge of all the ones that I've done, but it was certainly up there with them. And the room just felt fine afterwards, and the corridor felt fine afterwards. So you really can clear these energies.
What did you ever get any awareness of what it actually was that was in the room? Excuse me.
The family that had moved in there wondered if there might have actually been some satanic rituals that were going on, because all the walls were painted black. And it was really interesting because I got a message from Gaia, and I said to the owners, I was like, this is going to sound weird, but I feel like she's asking me to clean the ground beneath the house. If they drank anything out of a plastic bottle, they just threw it down. So it was actually thigh deep in plastic bottles.
Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. That makes sense that Gaia would ask you to do that then while you were there.
Exactly.
Exactly. Wow. I can't believe people would do that. It amazes me, you know, how people just throw stuff out in nature. I've never understood it. It's a challenge, that one. It is. And it's not a judgment, but I just never understood it. At all. Why it's necessary. We have facilities to throw things away. We have systems for that purpose.
Carry it in.
You can just
carry it out.
Exactly. Or put it in your car until you get home, you know. Put it in your own bin. Wow.
So I might tell you a story actually of one of the places that I worked on. So this was an area of land that just always felt distorted. There used to be a building there, and a lot of work had been done on the building, but it had been a whaling station. So it was where the whales were taken and where they were cut up.
Is this still in Australia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that had carried on until the 70s. Like, it was fairly recent that whaling had stopped there. And so I wrote a young adult fiction book, and there was a bit that was mentioned about this particular bit of land. And in the book, the family did a clearing on the land. Now, most of that book was semi-autobiographical, and most of what happened, apart from the dragon bits, actually happened to me, like the encounters with animals and stuff.
Yeah.
But that bit, after 2/3, the book was just my imagination. So that bit was my imagination. But one day I was riding past on my way to the beach, and I just stopped to have a drink of water, and I was riding my bike, and I just looked over to this land, and nothing used to grow there. There would be weeds all around, but it would just stop. It was completely barren. And I was like, I realized that we actually had to do what I'd written in the book.
Wow.
So it was the other way around in that one. I'd written it first, and then me and my housemates, and it was just funny because everyone kind of fitted into being one of the characters in the book as well.
Wow, I love that.
Like the right ratio in numbers of male, female.
Total manifestation, Denise.
Yeah. 2 of the characters in the book were twins, and male and female, and 2 of my housemates both had dark dreadlocks. So they didn't actually look alike, but it was just funny that they were stood in the places of the twins.
Wow.
So we did a process there, and it kind of helped a bit, but not really very much. And I mentioned it to my friend, the Aboriginal friend, and he'd actually given me permission to work on the land as well. And he told me that it was a massacre site, and he told me that what I needed to do was gather 21 people in 3 groups of 7 and do more work on the land.
Okay.
So I was working at a backpackers at that time, and I was trying to gather together 21 backpackers who are a bit flaky, let's say. You know, where would you rather be, doing a healing with Denise or on the beach? So I was trying to control this and get 21 people, which was, you know, it's like, what's the phrase? It's like trying to herd cats.
Good luck with that one.
So in the end, I just let go of the idea of having 21 people and doing it in the way that he'd said, and just thought, I just have to surrender to this, and whatever happens, I know I'll be guided as to the best thing to do. Anyway, it happened that there were exactly 21 people there.
Oh, wow.
So we could have 3 groups of 7. And we did this healing. And then Lewis, my friend, Lewis Walker, he came at the end of it with his didge, and he played didge on the land as well, because obviously that's a real strong healing tool as well. And then after we'd finished, this was really interesting. From across the road, there was an Aboriginal boy who I think was about 2, maybe 3 at that time. And he ran across the land. He was the first person to step across the land. And it just seemed really appropriate that happened. Yeah. And the other really appropriate thing is that I'm English. Not everyone that helped me with it was English, but they were all from overseas. And there just seems something full circle about the fact that the trauma had been caused by people overseas, and it was being sorted by people overseas as well.
Beautiful.
Now, I don't think we fully cleared it, because often it's layers. You know, you get the layers, and deeper layers come up in deeper layers, and it can actually take quite a long time sometimes for spaces to clear. So I don't believe that we finished that clearing. Houses were built on there.
On it, before it was cleared. Yeah.
But it was definitely much better than it was. Yeah. And things started to grow on there as well. So, you know, that was another sign that we had actually done some deep work there.
Yeah. I remember as a young child, the whole area, we lived out in the country, and the whole area, there were new houses that we lived in, and we found really mysterious things were going on. And I could see spirit. I've always been able to ever since I was a child. And I was seeing a lot, and and they weren't identifying themselves. They were just there, and they weren't scary or anything. They were just there, but there was just a lot of them, and a lot of us kids were seeing them. And we found out in the end that all the area, it was an old graveyard.
Oh, wow.
So all the spirits were coming because they were disturbed. This is what we were told as kids. Yeah, but we were seeing them everywhere. And some people, yeah, it was actually. And people actually, and some healers, our grid workers, or what, you know, we call them healers then, came in and cleared. They had to clear it, yeah, and send them back to the light, yeah. But it was a strange experience. Like all the kids in the neighborhood were seeing these spirits everywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
And the adults were like, you just stop playing these games, you know, you've got too much fantasy, and you know, and they thought we were making it all up, but we really kept saying it, you know.
Yeah.
So they believed us in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know, you have to be aware where you build, what you're building on, what land you're building on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, land is old.
Yeah.
The earth is old. There's a lot of things happened in the earth's time.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's some disturbances in a home, then it could easily be because of the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say more often than not, it's actually because of something in the land.
Yeah.
And even, you know, even if there's some traumatic things that have happened there, it may have been that the land was quite fractured. The energy was quite fractured anyway to draw that to it.
Yeah.
And I can only say in my experience, so every place that I've done healing on a building, it's always been that I've had to do it on the land. Yeah.
That's very interesting. They used to call that kind of work, they didn't used to call it grid work. What did they used to call it?
Like space clearing?
Yeah. So is this a reasonably new terminology, saying grid work? Because I've never understood what that actually meant.
I guess not all space clearing is necessarily grid work, but with grid work, you are working with the Earth's energy grid.
Yeah.
And much of what we're doing at the moment is actually upgrading the energy grid and unraveling the distorted matrix.
Yeah.
A lot of the work that I've done in England since I came back, and I haven't done any for a while, it seems that that's mostly finished. There's a lot of really old churches around here. And of course, the old churches were built on the sacred sites.
Yeah.
So the original pagan sites, they built the churches on. So they're on the strong energy spots.
Yeah.
And a lot of that kind of distorted patriarchal energy, so is kind of held within the churches. And actually, Henry VIII, I think it was, there was a lot of massacres happened in the Catholic churches because, you know, there was such a kind of warring energy going on between, I guess, would it be Protestant and the Catholic? So there was actually a lot of nuns, I would think monks as well, that would have been killed at the churches as well. So a lot of the work that I've been doing since I've been back in England in the churches has been to unravel, and that's the way that I see it. It's like just unfurling, kind of rolling up the distorted energy, bringing up the original matrix, the kind of organic matrix, and bringing in the new frequencies to connect with that. And the new frequencies are sometimes templates from other planets, but it's creating these new earth templates now. So I've done quite a few undercover light language activations at the churches around here.
But you work a lot, or you have worked a lot with water as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's a big thing of mine, really. Because we are water, and the water energy on the planet, in the seas and the oceans, like, you know, it's just not that clean, it's not that clear. But neither is, let's all have a drink of water as we think about this. So, and even the waters of the womb, as well are not as clear as they used to be. So it's activating the water, and the water, I think we talked about this last time, water holds memory. So the water on the land has the memory of everything that's happened on the earth. All the traumas, all the catastrophes, all the wars, everything, that memory is held in the water. Because even when it's something, even if it's not by water, there's water in the air. So water is everywhere on the planet, really. So it holds the memory of that. So when we do energy work on the waters, we're doing it for the whole planet, and we're doing it for ourselves as well.
And the waters go also into the land.
Yeah.
So it affects everything, really, doesn't it? Because it can go everywhere. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's a lot of new information for me. I mean, I know some of it, because I do follow you, so I know when you're talking about this sort of stuff. But it's nice to get it all together. Like, I like the way that you took us through the whole process. Because, and us that are connected to energy and see energy, we could also do this, right?
Yeah, and that's partly why I shared it as well. And it's not like you have to do what I say. Like, I really encourage people to use their imagination, but it's one way of doing it. And you know, there's many other ways. And now I would use light language as well. And I can't just place together my doing the work in the houses and when light language came through, but I would probably have done some light language at that time anyway, but it maybe wasn't coming through as much as it is now. But when you use light language to clear, you can clear way more stuff. So much can just be transmuted to love immediately, and you can go a lot deeper. And when I do the earth grid activations, they tend to be very, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on with my hands. I'm doing symbols with my hands. Sometimes it's almost like this is there's energy coming in this one. Sometimes it's the same thing on both sides, sometimes it isn't, but it's a whole body movement. And I haven't fully recorded myself. I will, doing those, because they're quite interesting to me anyway. They might not be interesting to anyone else. And there's a lot of sacred geometry that comes through in my voice, but also with what I'm doing with my hands. And I love when my eyes are closed, I'm kind of aware of what I'm doing with my hands and seeing the geometries forming. And it's really quite complex geometry. Sometimes it's a bit like snowflakes, but in 3D. So you kind of picture snowflakes as being quite flat, but if you imagine them not being flat and very fractaline, if that's the word. So
it is now.
So if you were to zoom in, you'd go deeper into that fractal, like you'd probably get the same kind of shapes that you were getting when you first look at it. But yeah, very, very complex geometries kind of come through in that as well.
And these images that you're sharing on Facebook, they're, to me, as you know, the ones that you mirror, and some are photographs, aren't they? And some are things that you've created. When I look at them, I see, first of all, I see different beings.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And then I do what you suggest, and I look at them softly, and I keep looking at them for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I see more and more, and it's like you're going through a tunnel. They go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and more information is coming out. And you know, you can choose to receive that information, can't you? They're codes. And there's more images, beings being presented. It's like when you look in kaleidoscope. And it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, doesn't it? Fascinating.
Because although it's a static picture, it's a static picture of something that's moving. So like these kind of codes, I mean, you can't see them very clearly there, but they're not static either. They're moving, and they're not flat. They're in 3D. So they're not squashed against the page. They are, you know, 3-dimensional. And the beings that come through on the photographs, It's so interesting when you do those, because the mirror app, there's different settings and it comes up with something, and sometimes you'll get something straight off and you're kind of like, whoa, hello, because it is like they're staring right at
Yes,
you, and they've been waiting for you to see them. And when you see something, you can't see anything else at first. All you can see is that. And it's like, sometimes people will say to me, you know, the one with the moustache, and I'm like, and then I look again and I can see which one they're referring to. But you can't get past the first one to start with, or you do. But then when another one comes out and it's so obvious, you wonder how you couldn't see it in the first place. But the ones that I shared this week, of one of the Calinish stones, and then I made that negative. So I put that in an app to make it negative, you know, like the negative effect, and then filters on it until it looked gold. And you can see that there's different beings that are highlighted on that one than the other one. There's like a mantis being, there's a big dragon on that one as well.
Yes,
like
there is. I've seen it.
And the gold looks like fire around it as well. But
there's a lot of beings in that one. I think I counted 10.
I got about 30.
I counted 10. I saw 10.
I got about 30, because there's some really tiny ones as well. When you zoom in, you can see more. And sometimes I'm not sure if I'm counting the same ones, because you forget, but I was pretty sure that there was about 30 odd that I found, which was just ridiculous.
I'm gonna have to go back then.
You'll see more.
No, but I love using my energy on that, because it's something that it's a different way of connecting. It's a different way of receiving codes, and it's very peaceful, and you know, you can just sit with it in your own time, and you can just go deep, can't you? It's
and
like
really
a form of meditation.
Absolutely. And you're really connecting to the beings as well. It's like they're kind of, you know, waving at you and giving you a message. They're looking straight at you.
They are.
It's incredible.
It's fascinating.
The first ones of those, I think I'd done some in the forest, but these were different. The Calinish stones on the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides. When I mirrored those stones, I was coming back on the train and I was like, oh, I'll have a play with the mirror app with those stones, see what comes up. And there was just being after being after being. And I'm on a train, you know, if I'm at home, I can say expletives out loud, but when I'm on the train, you know, I can't just go, oh my God, you know, and I just kept having to
but you don't.
I just kept having to put the phone down, because it was a little bit overwhelming. There were so many, and it's like those stones are 9,000 years old or something.
Wow.
Some of them are formed by the moss on it, but some of them is actually markings in the stone. And it's just incredible that now we're able to bring these beings. It's like they've, you know, their energy has been waiting so long to just be there and go, hi.
And it's crazy, you know, it's crazy, because at first when I started looking at you, because you've been sharing for quite some time, different ones, haven't you? At first I was like, that's just a figure of my imagination. I mean, I'm just making this up, right? And then I could see the comments that people were seeing all these different beings. I'm like, oh. So then I started really zooming into them, because I find it fascinating using time with that. I'm so glad to share them.
It is a human thing that we want to see faces in things. It's natural for us to do that. But it's more than just that. Like, you know, you can see their head, their body, their arms sometimes. Sometimes it's just faces. And it's like one face, the eyes of one might become, you know, the nose of another or whatever. It's like they're all morphing into each other. But it's crazy.
It is.
But fun.
Yes. How come you started creating these? What was the thing that like got you going on those?
It might have been inspired by Zahara Celestial's stuff, because we were working together at that time. And whether I'd just seen other people's and just thought, oh, quite fancy doing that. I can't quite remember how it came about, but because I know Zahara wasn't in the beginning using a mirror app as such. She had other programs that she would use. And then I think one of them did have a bit of a mirror thing in one of the programs, but it wasn't just a mirror app. It was something else. Like the dragon eggs that I've just put out, those were quite early on, those ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
I couldn't stay with them for too long. I tell you, those are powerful. That energy, I received that straight away. It was like,
yeah. That's the little thing that they came off.
Wow.
So it's like a quarter of A4.
Yeah. But the colours as well. Yeah, they're so rich. Yeah, they're powerful. I've saved it. I saved them all on my phone, so I can go back to them. And I'm thinking, oh, that's gonna cancel out all the bad energy on my phone with all this good energy. Yeah.
Well, I've got them all over my walls, as you can see. So I've got many a portal in this room.
Yes. How do you sleep? Okay, I saw you jotting something down that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I did actually. It was about the crystal grids. But how are we doing for time?
We're all right. No, I'm not in a hurry, so
okay.
Whenever,
So the Sisterhood of the Rose has been coming into my awareness quite a bit recently. So I was feeling that I was getting a bit of a nudge to share about that. And the Sisterhood of the Rose has been in my awareness for a few years now, but it's coming more into my awareness these last few weeks. And reading up about it, it was kind of like a priestesshood. It was a very pure lineage that went back to Atlantis, and I have a feeling went further back than that to Lemuria. And there's definitely a Venus link there as well. So Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Isis. I think the Hathors. I've only recently started connecting with the Hathor.
I don't know what that is.
It's very divine feminine energy.
Okay.
And it's only recently been coming into my awareness, but I feel that the Hathor energy is. Hathor was one of the beings in Egypt.
Okay.
But I feel that that divine feminine kind of Sophia energy is linked. That Hathor energy is linked to the Sisterhood of the Rose as well.
Yeah.
So Mary Magdalene was of the Sisterhood of the Rose, and the Grail codes, that the truths and the codes and the keys that they had were protected by the Templars. And I'm not sure if Templar energy got distorted or if people mistook the Crusaders for the Templars and called them Templars when they weren't. They were actually the Crusaders.
Okay. I'm
starting to read a book by Freddie Silver that's about the Templars, and he's really researched it. So I'll know more about that in the future. But they protected those sacred codes and that lineage. Now, I was talking to a friend really just before this call, and she was talking about some of the distortion of the Sisterhood of the Rose. I feel there's a pure lineage there, but as with everything on the planet, there was a bit of distortion that came into there as well, including things like betrayal energy. So in the same way that witches were betrayed around those times, a lot of the Sisterhood of the Sisters of the Rose were betrayed as well. So they were priestesses. There's a link with Harriet Scamus as well, and that energy. They knew about the sacred sexual codes, and they knew about sacred sexuality. And that was very feared as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And I think as has happened on the planet, that energy of competition and fear came into it as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, people lost some of the purity perhaps in there, and it became more about competition and ego. A lot of ego probably came into it as well.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some distortion around the Sisterhood of the Rose, but to me, it's like through the center, there is that purity, that energy. And a lot of us would have been ordained into the Sisterhood of the Rose as well. Now, there's a Mary Magdalene church not too far from here. And whenever I go there, I always get really strong downloads. And I feel that I'm connecting with Mary Magdalene energy, Mother Mary, and Isis particularly. Often dragon energy as well, but those three in particular. And the first time that I went on my own, one of them, I think it was Mary Magdalene, placed her finger there. And I could see that I had like a crescent moon, like a smile, and a star on the top. And I feel that that's one of the symbols that's linked to the Sisterhood of the Rose. Yeah. I feel it was there already, and that she kind of activated it.
Yeah.
And I read a book on Mary Magdalene, and she, according to this book, she was ordained into this sisterhood at an early age, like maybe 3 or 4 years old. I can't remember, but she was very young. And before she went in the morning, because Venus can be the morning star, it can be the evening star. Yeah. But she saw it above a thin crescent of the moon. And that was described in like the second page. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's interesting. Yeah. And after I had this conversation with the friend, I went out before to get some food. The first thing I saw when I went outside was the little crescent of the moon and Venus. Venus was quite far above it, like it wasn't just above it, but I was like, that's really interesting. And that's what made me think perhaps I needed to share, you know, something about the Sisterhood of the Rose, because it's been mentioned a few times to me recently.
Yeah.
So the rose energy to me represents that purity, that love energy. And we can use roses as well in our healings. We can imagine that we're planting roses. You know, I like to use crystals, but I do like to use roses as well, of whatever color. The Sisterhood of the Rose, there were different lineages of that, and they were often they were different coloured roses for each of the lineages. And it's interesting that we had, you know, that I'm in North Yorkshire now, which is the white rose as well.
Oh my God, no, I have to share something with you now.
Go on.
Because, you know, I'm from North Yorkshire, right? And someone told me on one of my interviews that I was from the White Rose Sisterhood, and I've never heard of it before. So I went online to research it, but there's not that much about it. So she mentioned Mary Magdalene, and she mentioned White Rose Sisterhood. She could see that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, because I don't know anything about this sort of stuff. That doesn't come through to me. It's different things that come through to me. But we're all connected, and we're all different essences of everything, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, but that just like, oh, because, you know, she said that to me. So yeah, I can ask you about that then.
Yeah. So I don't know about the different lineages, what they were, but all I know is that they had different coloured roses for each one. And Yorkshire is the white rose, and Lancashire the red rose, and of course there was the War of the Roses. But there's also rose lines on the planet, which are the love lines on the planet. So they're like energy lines, and they're fairly close together, I think. And I don't know how they run on the planet. I feel them going north to south. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's just north to south, or if they go, you know, around the other way as well. But the rose lines we can strengthen by putting rose quartz into the ground. even if you're not actually on a rose line, if you just put rose quartz into the ground, if anyone's prepared to give up any of their rose quartz to do that, then that really helps strengthen the rose lines on the planet.
Okay.
And I feel that it's a good time to do that.
Yeah.
Because of the divine feminine energy that's been coming in, it feels that now's the time particularly to do that.
And it will create balance. It will create balance, won't it? Yeah, that's what I'm getting right now. Without even knowing anything, this will create balance. And it's also got to do with the divine union. Yeah.
And places that are called rose, so the Roslyn Chapel, for example, places that have rose in their name tend to be on the rose lines. And you'll see them in the country, that name's rose, but they're in a line because the rose line goes through. And I think that's not just, I think that applies like in many countries as well. It's not just in the UK.
No. Wow. And I've always been connected to roses. My grandfather, he had a rose garden.
Oh.
And and you know, English roses, they just smell divine, don't they?
Yeah.
And I was always fascinated mostly by the white rose. So that's quite interesting. And white flowers in general are my favorite.
Yeah.
So things start, you know, we get these snippets of information and downloads, don't we? And things start like coming together. Not that it really means anything for me in that sense, because I'm really focused on, at this moment, of just being consciously myself. And working within and sending my energy out and being the light. This is what my focus is and always has been. And love is like, it's always been that for me. So I don't like to get distracted by everything else that's going on, but I think it's interesting to hear about it.
And it's maybe an aspect of you that you can draw on.
Yes.
For your divine feminine energy as well.
Yeah.
And it's because my family are from Lancashire, so that's the red rose. And I remember as a child having a conversation with my grandma about the War of the Roses, and I think she said something to me like, "So which rose are you? White?" "No, you're not." And she was really upset that I'd said white and not red. But I connected more with the white rose. I mean, I was what, 6 or 7 years old. And I don't know if I was around in Yorkshire at the time of the War of the Roses and was on the Yorkshire side, and that's why I said white rose, or if it's actually to do with the white rose lineage. Golden roses are the ones that I tend to choose now. It's normally gold.
What do they signify?
To me, it's just a real pure
love, Christ energy.
And I don't even know if that's one of the lineages of the Sisterhood of the Rose, but I tend to get given roses quite often in that chapel, but they're usually gold.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So I wondered if to do a little activation and just bring that Sisterhood of the Rose energy through.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good way to end the show. Yeah, that'll be beautiful. Thank you. Okay, I'll sit better there, a little bit more grounded.
Okay, so just breathing deeply into our heart space, breathing in love. And visualizing in your heart space a golden rose. And as you breathe love into your heart space, seeing that golden rose expanding. Until the whole of you is held within the energy of that golden rose. Hialero ton kumparla keatan uitia. Herodon hun meki to orod oya. Ehiam bele arodon tuistela. Hiana mea tanokule arodon, ane veredoda, enimiti rodo hon to kole kabaradatas. Ehia melekiano dodoret antikale ea. He arodono kono kuistirat ia pat an. Kule aroton toyaka ast oret ea. Hianai. Hola. Estaro no makano kulera. Hia mela na kuyeste art otuya. Himalaya. And just feeling the energy around us now becoming golden. And this is activating our Grail codes. Hia mele hato kunama kastorit ia. Hia le paroto kunama karlaka. Hele kararno makoto tutoyesta. Hula harano kode bahra te kiama. Hele harano kotoyesta. Hula radahan. Huleya nekia protokum makala. Hesta harana kokoyata. Hesti harana namakulle kamera ko ona. Hele harano kolle karotokuma astea. Hele arotuna nanamaki ale ato. Ulaya. And I know, and Hiamele rodun koya stora. Helikano korast oita barada ana ko ona. Tulare tunna kana makia tochistuita dana. Kerat on toya. Kullera to tona makilla korutaya. Ona makille barada. Ona makille kost. Ulle karalana no kulla barada. Ana makilla koto to tona makille kao. Udla panakile ya to stu. Hamala kina makalo kodo yit makara to oyapa. Hianae. Elle makille barato kun maata te tias. E me hiela no kudutu yanna. Elle perla no kuhuku stara doi ta. So taking a few long and slow deep breaths. Still feeling the energy of the rose around you and in your heart. And know that you can call on this golden rose energy or any of the other colored roses anytime. And the Sisters of the Rose acknowledge and give thanks to all of us here, all of us who are drawn to the replay. And sending love from their hearts to ours, honoring the divine feminine in all of us, whether we are female, in a female or masculine body. So becoming aware of the rise and fall of your belly. And wherever you're seated, feeling your sitting bones. And beginning to move your body, roll your shoulders. And opening your eyes whenever you're ready. That was really hard to open my eyes then.
Yeah, me too. I could have stayed there forever. Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. That was so beautiful.
Can I just mention that the lovely Sahara Celestial.
Yeah, because I can't see anything. Can you see?
She's popped in and she's popped out.
Okay.
But she and I are joining forces again, and we haven't done any work together for quite a while.
Yeah.
But on the moon, on the 9th of March, it's a super moon, so it's one where the moon is at its closest point for the year. Yeah. And it feels to me that a lot of the distortion around the moon isn't there now. Something that I think it was Franco de Nicola, his view on it, which really resonates with me, was that the moon is very reflective.
Yeah.
And because there was the inverted matrix on the planet, it was reflecting back to us that inverted matrix. And the inverted matrix is now switched off. There are still remnants of the energy being worked through. Yeah. The last full moon, for example, I barely noticed it. So it feels like a lot of the distortion around it has gone. Yeah. And it's like a living library, and it's connected to all the other moons, all the other planets' moons. So in the same way that we've been connecting to the sun, we kind of haven't really connected to the moon. But I feel it's time for us to start connecting to the moon now the distortion is gone. Yeah. So yeah, that's some of what we're going to be doing on the 9th of March. Yeah. I think it's at 7 o'clock. Yeah. So we've got a Facebook event out for that. Yeah. And you can contact either myself or Sahara Celestial.
Yeah. Will there be a replay? Because I have a show at that time.
Yes. This one is actually a paid event. This one. But yeah, there's going to be a Facebook page.
Okay.
Just for it. So
yeah. Okay.
I don't think we'll be able to go live onto the page, but we will definitely be able to put the replay there. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so where do they find the event? Is it on your profile? Yeah. Or?
Yeah, it is. It's the event's been done by Sahara Celestial.
Okay.
But it's shared on my page.
Okay.
Yeah. Or people can just connect with us, but it is on my page. Yeah. And it's on Zahara's as well. And I'm going to be doing a crystal light attunement at some point. I don't think it'll be before the 9th of March now. I think it'll be after that. So this is where it's like a Reiki attunement, but with some extra stuff as well.
Okay.
So it connects us to the crystalline frequencies. So the frequencies that will be transmitted by you at the end of the attunement, if you've had other attunements, you'll still channel those energies as well. But these crystalline frequencies will be added to the collection of energies that we channel.
Okay.
But it also connects us to the crystalline grid of energy. So it's like you've got source energy at that crystalline frequency coming down through the crown, and then Earth's crystalline energies coming up through the feet as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, just to get in touch with me, and I'll be doing an event for that as well.
Beautiful. And otherwise, just get in touch with you on Facebook. You're always around, love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's, if people are interested in sessions or written codes, or a combination of both, which can be really powerful, Yeah, just get in touch. I'm here.
Love it. And I'm so glad you've been here with me tonight.
Yes,
It's
thank
been
you
beautiful.
for inviting me.
Of course.
It's been lovely.
Yay. Love connecting with you, darling. And have a beautiful evening and day, everybody, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you tomorrow with Melissa Deham.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yes. So see you all tomorrow. Have fun, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.